of love, the time has come. Reclaim your power. Roar, Lion of the Lord. Roar, Lion of the Lord.
Hello, lovely people. That was Sister Katarina Rain with Lion of Love. You can listen to the full song on YouTube or on Spotify, whatever you would like. God and Goddess, thank you so much for this day and the gift of life, the gift of the Holy Megillah, and the insights that we receive from it that we can apply to our lives and make them better. Thank you so much for the perspective change as well that comes with the Holy Megillah and understanding these spiritual concepts and just seeing more of the bigger picture. Thank you for that, especially in these times, especially in the light of all of the transhumanism and the AI stuff. Help us to fight against it in whatever ways that we can, to embrace the natural way of living and to reject all of the artificial ways of the satanic path. Please help us to climb the golden ladder and be loving and kind to one another, forgiving ourselves and others, and making this world a better place. In the name of Elohim, I pray. Amen. Today on the Nasarean calendar, it is the 4th day, so it is Humanity Day. Let me get off this screen here. Okay. Our God and Goddess, immanent and transcendent, send to all your angel of peace. To humanity, send your angel of holy work. The man or woman that finds their holy work need not ask any other blessings, because things will just start pouring to us when we align with the right things. Before we jump in, I wanted to open this gift here from Kyle. And oh, yay, a yellow shirt. Nice. Be kind to every kind. Nice. This is going to look really nice on me. Thank you, Kyle. I appreciate that. Now I think I have a color shirt for every day of the week. I actually wanted to show you 2 things regarding that. This little graphic that I made that has all of the colors of the day of the week. Today is day 4, which is red. I actually almost put a red shirt on today, but I didn't. But if you are using the Nasarean calendar, let me put up the website here. greenlionarmy.pages.dev. You'll notice on the days when you actually go to click them now, in the top left, it actually has the color on there as well. So you can see what the color of the day is. And obviously our morning communion with the angel of sun, our midday peace contemplation, and then the evening communion. Cool. Super excited to get that, and more things yet to come on that app. It's really useful and going to become more useful. But anyways, thank you, Kyle, for this shirt. I'll definitely wear it next Yellow Day, which is what, the 3rd day, I believe. Day 3, yes. Cool. And also these different days correlate with the different chakras as well. And then the branch and the root forces of those days that you commune with in the morning and the sun, they each have their own sound of power, but they also, when you put those sounds of power together, they make a sound of ecstasy, which is they're both correlated with the different chakras, but that one is the mating of those 2, which is an even more powerful force to have. You can find those in Day's Sadhana book that is available on the Essene website. So now, chapter 72, the Holy Megillah, the Nasarean Bible of the Essene Way, translated by Day of Greenleaf and available at essene.org. We are reading chapter 72, which is titled, Yahshua Answers the Question of a Nasarean Man in Alexandria regarding degrees of nonviolence. Those of you who've been watching my videos for long enough know that I used to be quite quite a promoter of violence in different ways. But when you believe in, a jealous, angry God that says go out and kill the sinner, these different types of ideas, it can definitely plant some bad seeds that sprout in your life, not just with the violence, but also with unkindness and being unloving and mean. So, anyways, let's hear what Yahshua has to say. A Nasarean man in Alexandria asked Yahshua, if I see a crazed killer with an axe about to kill my child, is it too violent if I throw a spear and kill him? Let's say also that he has already killed one child. Let us also agree that in this example, the man is too far away for me to otherwise intervene to save my child from decapitation. The axe is about to fall, and there is a spear leaning against the wall where I stand. Would you condemn me for violence if I threw that spear to stop the killer? What say you, good master? Yahshua replied, if one has achieved the level of wizardry to shout, drop that axe, with all confidence that, as if struck by a lightning bolt, that axe will fall harmlessly from his hands, then shout. Otherwise, throw the spear. For you are only expected to manifest a level of nonviolence that is relative to your current level of spiritual development. In the specific example you gave, a human being would do well to intervene to save the child being attacked and other children from that attacker, even if an act of violence were needed. So, the majority at this level of the cosmic school system, even the majority of nonviolent Nasareans, do well to throw that hypothetical spear. Nevertheless, this planet, this world, is even now graced by some few that need only proclaim, drop that axe. And the axe would drop as if hit by lightning bolt. For those few, it would be a sin to throw the spear, since in their case, violence is not needed to save the child. How many of us have that kind of confidence? Yeah, that'd be really awesome to know, to have that knowing that you're not even worried about. You know you only have to speak that. That night, sitting beside a fire with the Lord and Lady and their companions, Yohanan said to the Lord, I heard your words in response to the question about the spear earlier today. I spent the rest of the day contemplating the term nonviolence. For, Nazarean wizard or not, I am not absolutely confident that the axe would fall from the hand of the attacker according to my will and word. Sure, I hope it would, but because I have not done anything like that before, I am not at all confident that my verbal command would work. In fact, I suspect I would throw the spear as fast and straight as I am able. I would not consider my act to be without violence, and yet it would feel appropriate considering that the likely outcome otherwise would be the slaughter of a child by an axe-wielding killer. I would not feel particularly proud of the act, neither would I hang my head in shame. And so I sat this afternoon and deeply contemplated the term nonviolence. Will you, my friend and my Lord Christ, grace my ears and the ears of the brothers and sisters that tonight share our fire with your reflections on the term nonviolence? Yahshua replied, Yohanan, you freely admit that you would throw that spear. Most high-ranking lions of Zion likely do not know what they would do in the exact hypothetical situation that the man today described. The killer had already struck down one child, and were you wrong about your ability to stop him with the wizardly affirmed word, the slaughter of another child would occur. Your refreshing honesty is commendable. Rules, such as Nasarean lions not using spears, should not be broken without just and merciful cause, as if in saving the hypothetical child in that exact situation described. What is appropriate to one man or woman may not be appropriate to a less developed or more developed man or woman. And what is appropriate for any person at a given stage of their own development in nonviolence may no longer be appropriate at a higher level of their ongoing spiritual development. In my own case, there have been many times in my life when I likely would have thrown the spear. Here and now, I would speak the word of command in the confidence that the axe would fall from the hands of the attacker. I tell you truly, without complete confidence, the enchantments of wizards often fail. But for the sake of the edification of the hearers gathered around this fire, I will speak now of some layers of complexity in the hypothetical scenario described by the man earlier today. For example, your ability to speak the word and cause the axe to fall harmlessly is not only dependent on your life condition, but also the condition of the other being, the killer. What if he is literally deaf and cannot hear your voice? And some are not literally deaf, but are in a condition whereat your voice will not alter their immediate action. The way I feel about myself is that deep within, I would know the reality of the given moment and act spontaneously and appropriately. Yahshua said to the assembled companions, "Yes, let us contemplate, as did Yohanan, the term nonviolence. Typically, in the most general sense, when we speak of violence, what do we mean? We think of some sort of physical intervention, such as a club on the head or a knife to the gut. We think of the military interventions of armies with force of arms. Criminals or armies might use the mere threat of violence to achieve their ends. If so, is that a form of violence? If a ruler starves his people while he and his family grow fat, is that a form of violence? Are there forms of violence that are as evil as the knife and do damage on a far wider scale than a knife, but are not so obvious? What are some of the subtle forms of violence? When we contemplate these and similar questions, we realize that even when we speak about obvious forms of violence and the concept of nonviolence, there are different degrees of ethical rightness and wrongness. A spear to the belly of a child killer that is about to swing an axe and kill yet another child, while undoubtedly violent, is an ethically superior act of violence than the swinging of that axe by the attacker. That proves that there is a scale of ethics in relation to violence. When we use violent intervention to save a child from an attacker, most will agree that it was an ethically acceptable use of violence, even while acknowledging that some highly developed human might use less violent powers, such as the word of command. Then come the gray areas, like the ongoing debate by philosophers on the theory of appropriate warfare. One can imagine that there might be group examples between nations or villages, similar to the scenario of the child and spear. For example, an army unjustly invades a village and begins killing and raping. Is it then acceptable to use swords and spears to defend the women and children of the village? Examples like that are why philosophers spend years debating what constitutes a just war. If one army is raping and pillaging not your own, but a faraway village, is it righteous for normally nonviolent men to arm themselves to intervene on behalf of that faraway village? I say that the answer is that each human and each group of humans will do the degree of violent intervention that relates to their level of spiritual development and their sense of appropriateness in each situation. I say also that the types of violence are many, subtle and complex. And I say that many of my dearest friends would throw that spear to stop the child killer, and that I would gladly fellowship with them afterward. I would do so and would not feel that their vibration is dark. Yet if I were to dine with the child killer after his deed, though my universal love includes all beings, including him, I would experience his vibration as dark and creepy. I'm just being honest with you. The Messiah that stands before you has come as a son of mankind. And as a son of mankind, I prefer the company of freedom fighters with swords to that of those who use violence for selfish reasons. But the sweetest of human vibrations that I've ever experienced is when I have been in the presence of those with the degree of spiritual development to speak the words, "Drop that axe," in the accurate confidence that the axe will harmlessly fall to the ground. But few humans in each generation have reached that level, and each must do what is appropriate at their level of development. In this moment, I honestly believe that I would speak the word and the axe would fall from the hands of the attacker. Even so, I do not expect the majority of humans to demonstrate that degree of development. Absolute nonviolence is not obtained in the human body, but each Nasarean should make a reasonable effort to make ongoing progress in nonviolence. Those that make reasonable progress in nonviolence as a human being will graduate to become angelic cherubim. Even then, there will still be further steps to be made in the ongoing process of development in progressive degrees of nonviolence. So, the key thing in regard to the ethical question related to the various degrees of violence is, I believe, our own answer, each of us, in any given moment to the question: am I living up to my current level of spiritual development and taking the next steps that I am ready for, or am I stumbling downward? That's the question that I'll leave you with. Am I living up to my current level of spiritual development and taking the next steps that I am ready for, or am I stumbling downward? Tomorrow we will read chapter 73, and I hope that you will join me for that. Hey Kyle, how's it going? You'll have to catch the beginning of the video where I opened your shirt and shared it with her. I don't want it to get dirty out here with all this, the dirty table and stuff. But thank you very much. I appreciate that. Now I have a shirt for all of the days of the week. Well, not that I didn't have shirts. I don't want people to think that I don't have clothes. I just didn't have the proper color clothing for all of the days of the week. So thank you very much. I appreciate that. I hope that you all have a wonderful day.